So, does anyone have anything they... Oh yeah, before we do that, I should say, you saw it said subtitle translations by, right? The film is actually translated, or it's subtitled in French, but it's like a totally different theatrical master that because of time constraints we weren't able to get here. So if you buy the DVD, you can actually watch the whole thing in French, which is cool. And in addition to that, you probably noticed some musicians, very famous musicians that you didn't see, like Terrence Blanchard and Big Sam Williams and Jason Marsalis and Ivan Neville and all these guys. They're on one of 5 bonus tracks that also come with the DVD. So if you buy the DVD, you get 5 extra songs and French. Or Italian, or Portuguese, or Spanish, which are all translated there. Cool. So, does anyone have any questions that anything I can help with? Answer? You hated it? You want to go home? Come on, really?
I just want to say thank you.
Oh, come on. Really?
And
You liked it?
Great time. I can see everybody love this.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, our pleasure. It was fun. It was crazy because this was a 1-week process. So we did I did the arrangements, all but one. Well, I did them all, but one of them sucked. So when it didn't sound good, Spud just said, "I'll do it. Don't worry, I got you." So he did it. Chris Turner's tune, "Liquid Love," the 3rd song. The way it worked is I did the arrangements, and then I emailed them to the guys, and they learned all the stuff. We set up the studio in 1 day, and then we did 2 days of rehearsing with just the band, I think. Just the band. And then the next day, half of the guest artists showed up, and we rehearsed with them. And then the next day, the other half showed up, and we rehearsed with them. And then the next day, we started recording. And we did 3 nights of recording, 2 shows per night for 3 nights. So there were 6 performances, but most of the artists had 2 songs. We just chose 1. So actually, we learned like 16 songs instead of 8 or something like that. And it was cool because there was no, Amelie was there, she was taking photos of the whole thing. And there was no privacy at all in the studio. You know, there was 40 musicians or something between
I don't have a picture of this.
What?
I don't have pictures.
No pictures of that. Yeah. But there was no privacy, so like, everyone, even David Crosby, like, you know, Salif wasn't there, but, you know, Susanna, like these big stars, they didn't even have their own dressing rooms or anything. So everyone was just like this, just like in a room together. Except the room was 1/3 the size, and it was a kitchen, you know, that was in the basement. And it was super cool because we would finish rehearsing with an artist, with David or something. We'd say, "All right, David, that was the rehearsal, 1 hour, hour and a half. You can go back to your hotel." And he'd be like, "Cool." And then 3 hours later, I would come down into the kitchen, and he'd be down there in the corner, like playing guitar. And Jacob would be playing melodica with him, and the Swedish guys would be playing whatever the hell it is they play next to him. And it was super cool. It was a really I hope you got the sense of that from watching it. But you know, these people, no matter how famous or unfamous they are, or talented or whatever, they're all really cool. Just very cool. Very normal, no egos. They just give a shit about music, you know, and nothing else. And it was a really kind of cool. It was beyond cool. It was like a dream, you know, for all of us. Yeah.
How do you meet all the musicians?
How do we meet them?
Yes, in tour or...
Some of them were friends of ours. Becca, we opened for Becca like 7 years ago in New York. We would play before her band because no one cared about us, you know. Try to get her fans to care about us.
And you play with Michelle Willis and La Cigale?
Yes, Michelle Willis played before us at La Cigale. Yeah, exactly, just a couple months ago, right? And Michelle is actually coming out with her debut album, debut solo album on Ground Up, on my record label, in like 2 months, which is really beautiful. To me, she's like a new Joni Mitchell. You know, like jazz and pop, like together. It's super, super cool. So people like that, they're old friends. David is old, but not a friend. But he actually, the way we met was, he started tweeting us. But really tweeting us, like 18 or 19 times a day for like a week. Because I think what happened, his bass player in his band was like, you should check out this band, Snarky Puppy. So he got on YouTube and he watched one video and then he tweeted it. And then he watched another video and he tweeted it. And then he realized we had like 75 videos on YouTube. So he just started watching every video and then tweeting. And my mom was like, you know, my friends are sending me these tweets from David Crosby about you. Like, you should call him, you know? And I was like, I think you can just call David Crosby, you know? It's not like in the phone book, you know? So I tweeted him a message, a private message, and I said, can I call you? Is that cool, you know? And he said, sure, and he just gave me his phone number. And I called him, and we talked for an hour about just bullshit, about absolutely nothing, like, just like, I don't know, like, football and guitars, and I don't know, we were just talking about, and then at the end of the conversation, I said, hey man, can I ask you a question? And he said, I know what you're going to ask me, and the answer is yes. Real humble guy. So I was like, okay, cool man, we'll see you in February. So he came, you know. And then Salif, actually, we got in touch with Salif through Jean-Philippe Allat, who's the president of Universal France, and also runs Impulse. So we did Silva, we did an album called Silva with the Metropole Orchestre. That was on Impulse. So Jean-Philippe and I became good friends. And I called Jean-Philippe and I was like, dude, I want to get Salif on this record. Can you help? He said, sure. And actually, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. Why not? He called Salif and he said, Salif, there's a band called Snarky Puppy that wants you to be on their record. And Salif said, no. And Jean-Philippe said, yeah, but they just won a Grammy last year for a similar project, and I know you really want a Grammy. And Salif was like, okay. So if we don't win a Grammy for that track, he's going to be really pissed off. But no, it's cool. It's cool now, actually, because I'm going to actually produce his next record, which is in April, so that's going to be cool. We were supposed to do it right now. Amelie and I were supposed to be there right now doing it, but because of the terrorist attack in Mali, we're chilling out for a minute. It's a little funky there right now. Yes?
I just met Snarky Puppy 2 years ago, and I just can't realize where do you find all the inspiration to do all that?
Texas?
Well, I think not having any kind of personal life makes it easy. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, you know, Crosby, but less talented and less famous. I mean, I love music, you know. I'm totally obsessed. So I think if you're obsessed with something, then you just collect inspiration everywhere, you know. From a train. There used to be 2 trains that would cross by my house in Texas. And they were always playing different intervals, you know. And I would try to write songs with those intervals. Or like, you ever put jeans in a washing machine and the little button goes like, doop, 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 you know, a really weird rhythm, and you're like, man, that's crazy, you know? Like, I don't know any drummer that can play that, but I'm going to try to teach my drummer that, you know? Whatever, you know? I mean, it's just music's around, and also if we like to listen to a lot of stuff, you know? We love music from all over the world, and we try to consume it and try to put it into our thing. You know, I would never pretend to be able to play Malian music like a Malian bass player, but I can listen to Malian music all the time and take the things that I know about it and that I relate to and put it in our music, you know. So, yeah, it's everywhere, I think. Yeah.
A question about the future of Snarky Puppy.
Is there one?
I have the feeling, that things have been accelerating in the last, let's say, 18 months, something like that. And it's a bunch of huge individual people.
Yes.
And now they have also their own stuff, like Corey Deal and the other show.
Yeah, everyone.
How do you see it growing, I mean, as a band and for the others also?
You know, do you guys know the saxophone and bass clarinet player Eric Dolphy?
Yes.
Jazz guy from back in the day. He was in Dizzy Gillespie's band, right? And Dizzy Gillespie fired him. And Eric was like, "What? Why are you firing me, man? I show up to the gigs, I play the stuff, you know." And Dizzy was saying, "Well, your voice is so unique you have such a unique voice, a sound on the instrument, that I feel like you're doing something wrong by staying in my band. You know? Like, you should have your own band, and the world should hear your music, you know? That's why I'm firing you, you know? That's the only reason why. And then Eric Dolphy went on to be the Eric Dolphy that everybody knows, you know?
So who did you fire lately?
Everyone, they're all gone. No, Snarky Puppy's in a unique position because we can have, and we do have, I feel, 18 Eric Dolphys in the band, but because we have so many fucking people in our band, I don't have to fire them. Do you know what I mean? Corey can do a 6-month tour, and I have Bill and Justin and Sean that can play our gigs. Or Sean can go do a tour, and I have Corey, Justin, and Bill, you know? So we kind of keep things rotating so that every guy can do their own thing. Because I really feel like as a musician, unless all you want is to be a sideman, we kind of all need our little plot of land. We all need our house. You know?
Just a related question to
Yeah.
this. Have you been approached by the mainstream people to do more commercial stuff? Not for you especially, but for them?
No. No, I don't think anyone that makes mainstream music gives a shit about us. And it's fine, you know? There was one, you know what, there was one thing. Atlantic Records called me and said, we're thinking about getting like a live house band to play behind all of our R&B artists, to be like the studio band, to record with all of our artists. Similar to, you know how Motown, they had like the same guys that showed up to work every day at 9, you know, well, probably not 9 a.m., probably 2 p.m., and showed up, and they played for Aretha and Marvin Gaye and the Temptations, and they were just the band, right? James Jamerson and all those guys. So Atlantic called me to maybe do that, and I was like, man, this is, hell yes, of course. You know, because I saw it as an opportunity to put real musicians back on the radio. Not saying we're, I mean, just real, like, physical musicians, not computers. You know what I mean? Like, people who play instruments on the radio. And they asked us to do one track, and we did it, and they never called me back. So I was like, yeah, okay, fine, you know? I mean, we didn't have our hopes up, but it was, what the decision I made is, like, we had a conversation about it with the band, and we were like, well, we could do what we know they want. And we know what they want is for us to play exactly what's on the radio, just with real people. But make it sound like it's not real people. Or we can do the shit we want to do, and make it sound the way we want it to sound, and then if they hire us, they'll only expect us to be ourselves. But if they hire us for doing this, they'll expect us to do this all the time, and then we'll be unhappy, you know? So we did this, and they didn't care. That's fine, you know? So that's how it goes sometimes. That's it. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
We could feel, all this period, the soul, and all the fun you had. Like all of your album, you had a lot of fun.
Yes.
All smiling, look at each other, and having fun. It was nice.
Thanks.
And also the words were very inspiring for people.
Cool.
Like say, screw the technique and just, listen to your heart and all the same stuff. Maybe pretty stereotyping, but it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know, they are very young artists. Some of them, not
Yeah.
David. But,
That's how they say.
how, I know some of them were your friends,
Mm-hmm.
but why did you choose them?
Specifically?
Yeah.
Family Dinner Volume 1 had a lot of female singers that were roughly in the R&B world. You know, like 5 of the 8 performances were females singing something kind of like R&B or soul, and I felt a little bad about that. It wasn't diverse enough. Although I think that record's very cool, you know. It didn't reflect the level of diversity that I wanted. So with this one, I was like, okay, we're going to go to different continents. You know, we're going to go to South America, we're going to go to Scandinavia, which I know is not its own continent. But we're going to go to Africa, you know, the UK, like pick people from lots of different places. And I just made a list. I mean, pretty cool job, you know? Make a list of all the people you want to record with and ask them. And Some will say no, and some will say yes, hopefully. And so we just kind of asked one by one to make sure that not all of the African artists that we asked said yes, you know, or whatever. And it slowly happened one by one, and a few people said yes and then had to cancel. Bobby McFerrin was supposed to do it. Lionel Lueke, great guitar player and singer from Benin. There were like 2 other people that said yes, and then they called back and they were like, shit, we have a tour, you know. But that's why it's called Volume 2. You know, there's going to be 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and you know, it'll be going on forever. So yeah, you know, there's diversity in culture, diversity in language that they're singing in, diversity in age. Jacob is 20, which is terrifying. Crosby's 74, Salif's 65, I think, you know. Becca's 32, maybe 31. Michelle's 28, something like that, you know. So there's a lot of ages reflected. But we just wanted to get a diverse thing. We wanted ballads, we wanted up-tempo stuff, we wanted, you know. The idea is if you don't like track 2, maybe you'll like track 3. So we had to make sure track 1 was good so that people paid attention, you know. Yeah, man.
First of all, I mean, wow.
Thanks, man. Cool, thank you.
And to go back to what you were saying just now, it's about, you know, diverse musical experiences, cultures. And since you made this record in New Orleans, it's like you made a gumbo soup, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What's
very much.
in? Hence my question: what's with the food in this project? I mean, the Swedish guys were talking about kitchen.
Yeah.
It's called family dinner. You said yourself you had a kitchen in the basement.
Yeah, yeah.
Did it play like an essential
Yeah.
role in the...
I think if you spend your life touring, you know, these are the only things you give a shit about are food and music. You know? Really, I mean, it's like, and maybe beer. Wine, you know, in this case. Because these are the things that make your life different from day to day. If you eat at McDonald's every day, you won't even know what country you're in by Thursday. You know, so musicians are really food obsessed. You know, and the ones that aren't, once they start touring, they become that way, and all of these people tour a lot. And so we made sure the catering was good. And actually, it's funny because we all did eat dinner together every night at the thing, but there was only this one little room to eat it in, so actually everyone was like kind of sitting on the floor, like outside of the studio, and it was cool, man. It was a cool thing. And you're right, it is a gumbo. You know, New Orleans is where all of American music started. American as in United States of American music, you know, blues, jazz, funk, rock and roll, gospel, soul, hip hop. It's all from New Orleans indirectly, you know. So, yeah, food's big. I would say food's big. Yeah. Any last things before we split? Can we give a big hand to Amelie Marchier for all of you? One of our translators who translated it into Spanish, though she could have translated it into Greek or any other language that she knows. This is Lumila Gepi. Thanks, Lumila. And I want to give a big shout out to the first French person I ever met. I came to Paris knowing 0 people about 7 years ago. I was telling Amelie that I actually slept on the street on a park bench because I couldn't get into the hotel that my friend was staying in, and then the French police woke me up at like 5 in the morning, and we obviously didn't have a great conversation because I didn't know any French. But we were just like communicating on Facebook, and she showed me, you know, all the music spots and introduced me to Amelie and all these other wonderful people that helped us. And she's a badass bass player, Sabrina Boudaoud. Last question before we start. Somebody raise their hand.
No, it's just a remark. You're coming from Texas, but from our cultural perspective, I've never been to Texas, but your music doesn't sound like Texas. For me, Texas is ZZ Top. So where does it come from?
We've been spending 12 years trying to sound like ZZ Top. I'm really disappointed it's not working. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Texas. There's a lot of music in Texas, man. You know. Beyonce's from
Beyonce?
Texas.
Who's good?
A lot of great jazz musicians. They call them the Texas tenors. There's loads of tenor players from there. Erykah Badu's from there. Kirk Franklin's from there. Roy Hargrove's from there. Nora Jones is from there. You know, there's like, Texas is probably bigger than France, I think. Right? So, I mean, there's a lot of space. But the music has a Texas accent, but actually everyone in the band is from a different state. So we're all from all over the place, and we just met in Texas, you know, so it has its little stamp, but that's it. I hope the accent is understandable. Because God knows if you went there, you wouldn't know what the fuck anyone was saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to do a concert with the family dinner, and when are we seeing you back in Paris?
Two very great questions. Every once in a while, a jazz festival, normally French jazz festivals like Nice, have invited us to bring family dinner guests and do a family dinner show. We did that last year with 3 of the artists. So if that happens, that would be cool. It's very expensive for the festivals because to book David Crosby is as expensive as booking all of Snarky Puppy. You know? So you never know. Stay tuned on that. The next time we're in Paris, I hope we're going to be here in July for like our little European festival thing. If so, it'll be the only time this year because we have another record coming out in June. Actually, we made a record because we're fucking stupid. I don't know why. We made a record last month of 13 new Snarky Puppy songs. You know, instrumental, no guests. So that comes out in June. So we're gonna be touring that, and hopefully that will be here then. It's my duty as the label guy to say that you can pre-order Family Dinner 2 right now, if you want. Also, there's two very special bundles that you can get if you want more than just the CD. Amelie took a bunch of beautiful photographs that are in like a photo book. That's really amazing. You have some with you right now? So on the way out, if you want to take a look, maybe Amelie will just let you check it out. And then also, there's a dude here named Nicolas Latti from the south of France, near Antibes, or yeah, who is a professional glass blower, and he blew these glassy puppies, is what we call them. They're unbelievable, like Snarky Puppies with headphones on, made out of glass, and we have like a bundle with that if you want to buy that stuff. We have a lot of shit to sell you guys. But that's not shit, that's like amazing boudoir. So anyway, that's that. I want to thank you guys so much for coming. I would really appreciate it, and appreciate your support always. And hopefully we'll see you guys in July, and if not, not long after that.
Thank you.